TV trash, and yeah, I've watched Kim Possible. I think the big reason so many show disdain for Disney's recent trend at live-action kids shows is that the handful of animated shows they still make are often pretty damn good. The writing and characterization is often really well done, with comedy and tidbits that viewers of all ages can enjoy, which is the basis that Walt Disney founded his company on. For me, one of those biggest examples is Kim Possible, which premiered on the Disney Channel in 2002 using mostly actors they already had under contract for voices, and proceeded to create one of the craziest scenarios possible: a high school cheerleader who's a superhero. Yeah, take that, heroes! This cheerleader doesn't need to be saved to save the world! Kim Possible is basically what you'd get if you combine James Bond with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It has the zany, over-the-top antics from superhero shows of the 80s, mixed with just enough creative writing and subtext that would go over a kid's head, but entertain a lot of people in the 20 to 30-year-old demographic. But it did seem to me like the show was past its prime by the third season. And for me, the episode that seemed to indicate the show had jumped the shark was Return to Wannaweep.
Mad Dogs here, we can play. Watch our moves in USA.
This is one thing that always got me. The Mad Dogs, like that mascot name, would actually get past the politically correct hounds today?
Kim, if you don't jump first, how can I be on top?
For the millionth time, Bonnie, I'm the top of this pyramid.
Using the backflip herky? No offense, but that move went out with the shade of lip gloss you're wearing.
With that lack of teamwork and chemistry, is it any wonder Ron's the crowd favorite?
Mad Dog's in the house! Ow, ow, ow!
Ron, could you maybe not celebrate the collapse of our pyramid?
This is why I love Ron Stoppable. Will Friedle got this character down perfectly. He's a complete free spirit, impulsive at times, but knows that he ultimately has to be his own person. And this impulsiveness and freedom is surely what makes him just do what he thinks the crowd would like, rather than anything choreographed, which is perfect for a cheer mascot.
Ladies, Unstoppable, quit your yammering and pack your bags. We're going to cheer camp, ladies. Unstoppable. Camp.
Did he say?
Camp, that's right. Cheerleaders and mascots.
They hold it at Middleton Community College.
Really? There it goes!
Change of plans, people. The campus is off limits due to catastrophic plumbing problems. We got lucky and landed an alternate venue, the sunny shores of Lake Gottagrin.
This is the same lake! The same lake! Could you cut the music? I'm stressing here.
Isn't this band camp?
No, that's band camp. Right next to telecommunications camp, which is right next to clown camp, right next to science camp. Also known as the camp whose toxic runoff has polluted the lake and will turn everyone into amphibious mutants.
Yeah, is all this starting to sound familiar to you? Okay, backstory time for those who have too much of a life to be watching Disney Channel. One of the staples of Ron's character is the one time as a young kid he went to summer camp at Camp Wannaweep, where he was tormented by cruel bunkmates, evil woodland creatures, and an insane monkey. It's the basis for his paralyzing fear of both camps and monkeys, and it was all laid out in the episode Sink or Swim, where the cheer squad was traveling to a tournament and got trapped at the old campsite that was now haunted by one of his old campmates, Gil, who had turned into a mutant fish monster.
The lake was toxic. See, I thought that lake was funky. I'm glad I never went in. You, on the other hand, you practically lived in that water.
According to my toxicology scan, the water in Lake Gottagren is uncontaminated.
See?
But hey, at least this could still be different. I mean, at least Gil's not in this one.
He's quite a success story. 100% human. Even made the honor roll.
Where? At Mutant High?
Oh no, it's a public school. He's adjusted quite well. Busy with extracurricular activities.
Intermutant swim team?
No, I believe he's on the football team. He's, well, what do they call it? Mascot.
Hey, Ronnie, remember me?
Him! Rufus! He's got me!
You bet I do! Noogie! Hi, Kim. Can you believe it? Ronnie and I are gonna be roommates, just like old times.
Sometimes I think I'd be better off if I stopped talking. And this isn't the only time the show has reused a plot device, like in the episode Dimension Twist, where they brought back the pan-dimensional vortex inducer. Only there, they actually used it for something creative and original, where the device sent them into a TV set and had them living in the actual TV shows. Sometimes I feel like my life is just one bad TV show. I don't know why. Anyway, Ron continues to stalk Gil for proof that he's still evil, but when it looks like it's all just false accusation, the entire cheer camp turns on him, even though they treated him as a legend among cheer squad mascots earlier in the episode.
So just because I'm a little paranoid, the entire camp's out to get me. And you know, you'd think at some point they'd run out of rotten vegetables to pelt me with.
Cheerleaders! They're as fair weather as sports fans in Dallas. Oh, and if you're wondering why Kim isn't sticking up for her best friend, that's because she's too busy engaging in her own war with Bonnie as to who can be the pettiest.
I'm tardy because you unplugged my alarm clock. Is that what that plug was? What is it? What's happening? Oh, I'm just evening out my tan. Hope I didn't wake you.
And this includes a scene with Bonnie going into the shower. Was this thing made for Disney or the asylum?
I scanned wider and found a small grotto off the south shore.
Grotto. Always hated that word.
It's showing some weird readings.
How weird?
Evil mutant weird.
I knew it!
After searching night after night, I have found my magic mucka!
Magic? Mucka? Sounds worse than grotto.
Okay, now this is completely crossed over into bullcrap territory. Why? Because in the previous episode, it was clearly established that Gil's mutation was a long, drawn-out process from extensive exposure to the toxic water. If this was like Ninja Turtles, where they established that the mutations were nearly instantaneous, I would buy it. But again, this episode is just ripping apart its own continuity for plot convenience. And maybe you could make an argument that his previous mutation meant his body reacted quicker to the mutagen, but that goes out the window from what we'll soon see.
Gil with 2 L's is back!
Don't you screams get it? This is my revenge! It starts by turning you all into my mutant minions.
I hope you all didn't eat before watching this review.
I thought you hated being a mutant, hence the whole revenge business.
I did hate it, but once I turned human, I missed the immense power that comes with toxic genetic mutation.
I guess it's a grass is always greener kind of thing, huh?
Right. I want it to be greener.
So you sabotaged the pipes of the community college, knowing we'd all be relocated to Gottagren.
And now, I'm gonna sign the campers in all the camps around Lake Wannaweep. And guess what? You're first!
As of right now, Ron Stoppable is all done running. Hey, Gil. Excuse you?
Ronnie, you're a... What is that? A chipmunk or something?
Actually, I think I'm a beaver. I guess when you plunge headfirst into a toxic pool, you never exactly know what you're gonna get.
So yeah, he runs to escape being turned into a mutant by Gil, just to decide his best choice is to turn into a mutant by diving into the toxic lake. I know earlier I said I liked how Ron is impulsive, but that's not what I had in mind. So the climax is basically Fishman versus the giant beaver. Seriously, this sounds like one of those bad Sci-Fi Channel knockoff movies that Film Brain refuses to review anymore.
Mr. Barkin, we're going to need a lift.
Prepare to launch. Fire one.
Now hold up!
Fire two.
Go!
Backflip Herky Spring. And the side hurdle or lift up. That's a little more this century.
What better way to catch a huge...
Okay, two things about the ending to this climax. I like how Bonnie takes part in it, because one thing I always admired about the show was how even though Bonnie was always the typical selfish, spoiled, bratty cheerleader type, she was never an actual villain in the show. It was a nice touch to show there is a difference between a mean character and an evil one. What disappoints me about this scene is that despite going so far as to mutate himself into a monster, Ron is ultimately still just the distraction for Kim to finally beat the bad guy. You'll have the finale, Ron. You'll have the finale. So the episode ends with one last bullcrap science move by Ron being fully restored with just a splash of miracle chemicals or something, while they choose to trap Gil in a fishbowl rather than restore him.
There's always something you can learn from any experience.
Normally, I'd say we learn that suspicion and paranoia is bad, except that's what saved us. If you two had set aside your differences earlier, one of you could have won that spirit stick. That's the lesson here.
How about cheer camp stinks? Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, works for me.
Stinks about as much as this episode did. Maybe they were trying to do a parody of horror films and other movie sequels and how they rehash the same plot, but this just came off as way too unbelievable for me. And believe me, with some of the stuff this show put out, that's saying something. Ultimately, it comes off as looking like the writers were running out of ideas and just threw this one together. Which was why I was one of the few who actually thought this show ending after 65 episodes was a good thing. I'll give them credit for coming up with some good stuff in the 4th season, but I never would have guessed it would happen from episodes like this one. What's the sitch, Cecil?
We scanned over the entire city, but unfortunately, no matter what, we can't get a lock on wherever this energy source is coming from. It's almost like there's two separate energy fields at the same time together, and one of them is being used specifically to block out our tracking scanners.
Do you have any good news to report?
Yes. Fortunately, our sensor scanners are still working. Wherever this energy field is coming from, we can confirm it is definitely magical in nature. I'm guessing your theory is correct, and you can now deduce who's behind this.
Alicia.